We are live. How are you?
Hey everybody, I'm doing great. Doing well.
Good. How you feeling? How was your week?
This week was good.
Mhm.
Um did I talked to my coach this week.
Nice.
Um yeah, she let me have it.
Your coach. Oh Lord. What was
yeah,
your takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway? I'm sure it was
um
a good way.
how much I like how much the right feedback, like the right feedback from the right person has such an impact.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the respect that I have for my coach
Mm-hmm.
and for her to be unapologetic, you know what I mean? And just tell me,
What it is.
because I know where it's coming from. I know she loves me. You know what I mean? Like, I know that she wants the best for me. So I know what she says to me
It's
is
not
for
with ill intent.
right. It's for
Yeah.
me to see what I'm doing to myself, not in a way where it's like, you know, a bad thing, but where to shift, right?
Yeah, well, you can be aware.
Girl, she just let me have it. And I saw it. I saw all of it. I was like, oh fuck. I've been doing this shit forever. You know what I mean? And I think that this is the thing that I'm just tired of.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like this. So yeah, it was a breakthrough conversation,
I
and
love
it
that.
did lead me to see, like when things like that happen, it's like
You see everything.
I start. I mean, it's everywhere, right? This is how I procrastinate and hesitate.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Just that's all she said to me. She was like, I don't know what it is, but you procrastinate and hesitate.
Mm.
And just let me have it, girl. She's like, what do I need to, and she just asked me questions. She doesn't tell me anything. She just asks me questions, and then she just quiet on the other end.
Silence is such a powerful tool
She don't say shit. She just sits there, she'll ask me a question, and she's quiet, boom.
because she's gonna give you space to think about it.
Right. She's like, and I'm like, usually I'll say something like, that's a really good question. Because like it makes me think
Hmm.
in different ways, right? It was great. And that was literally, I think I talked to her for like 15 minutes, maybe.
Ah, I love that. Effective. Let's get to the point here.
She
I love
doesn't play
it.
around. And she's like, and then she said to me, she says at the end, she was just like, I want you to understand that I don't take on coaching clients. She was like,
Mm,
I don't take coaching clients on.
mm,
So understand that
mm.
you got to have something for me to talk to you.
That part.
Essentially.
That part.
I was like, damn, who
Yeah.
said that shit? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I was like, dang girl, like, woo. I was like, damn, okay, well, girl. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a
I love that.
profound conversation that led me through all of these spaces over the last week. And I'm just really excited,
I
like
love that.
I'm really excited to just continue on my journey, girl. Just be on this journey, like really be in the journey.
Yeah. The marathon continues.
Yeah. So I'll share more about it as we
Okay.
roll through, but it was a really great week. Um, you know, it's the sun is finally out and it's kind of
Yeah.
warm. I was in the garden yesterday, so I planted some plants in the garden.
I love that. I started too. I planted in my granny's garden. The one that I started last year, started it this year, and yesterday was the day. I'm like, you know what? I need to just go to Home Depot,
Yep.
make a morning of it. So that's what I did.
Yeah, same thing. I did the same thing. So yeah, it's great. I'm gonna be outside a little bit today. But yeah, everything's going well. How about you? How was your week?
This week was really good. What I'm noticing I need to do more of is now taking time to pause more, because I find myself doing more. So I'm not necessarily pausing to actually, I don't know, I guess reflect on what it is that I'm actually doing. And so with the things going on, and they're great things, I was telling myself, I'm like, but I feel very neutral about it. And I don't like that feeling. I want to feel the highs and the lows. I want to feel it all. I don't want to be a robot through this process. And so that's what I've really been focusing on. And then also I've been challenged myself in that understanding that you can do business a lot of different ways. And then everybody has like that, and this has nothing to do with the collaborative, but this is just more business stuff. And now me seeing that I have to be more quiet. You know what I'm saying? Like I share what I share, but also I don't need to. People gonna do business how they do business, and I think you got to respect that. You got to respect that, and then figure out how to meet in the middle for it. So I'm very grateful for this, because I know that this is the next thing to take whatever collaboratives we're doing to the next level as well, because I think that's the thing that stops us when we get together and then we start having differences, but then you realize like the differences are the magic. Like that's the magic. That's where your perspective comes in. I didn't think about it that way. So, okay, I may not do it that way, but if this is how you do it, then I got to trust you to do it. So I'm enjoying this, but I never realized how much of it, and I guess maybe because I just never got this far in the process. So I'm loving it. I never realized how much you really do have to compromise on all levels across the board. And the more business partners I get and expand, the more personalities, obviously, you got to juggle. And so, and in different spaces too. So it's just like, it's a beautiful challenge. I'm enjoying it. And I'm enjoying seeing how I show up in this space. But that's how I know I got to slow down to reflect and actually pay attention to what's happening so that I can make sure I'm good, on my end.
Yeah, that's great. I'm hearing the word surrender.
Yes.
That's the word that just popped up in my head. I was like, you know what? That sounds like surrender.
Yes.
Kind of like allowing people to be who they are.
Yes.
Allowing yourself to rest and reflect and all of because that's part of it, right? Like you have to do that. Like that is such an important part. I think a lot of folks get what our society doesn't allow us to, to reflect and rest.
Yep.
That's the power, is to be able to refill your cup. It has to overflow.
Yes.
Right. So the overflow only happens when you do that. You have to. Yes. But yeah, girl, that's great.
Girl. So I'm excited. A lot of great things are just happening. And I'm like, I don't want to miss them. So I need to be present, be present and then actually allow the books that you read, the leadership things and all of the things, allow them to be real, allow them to happen in real time. So
yeah, that's great.
Growth and development.
That's
nonstop.
No, it doesn't.
It's nonstop.
And I think that once you get to the realization that your life will always be lifing to some degree, I think it's easier to like find the sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what so many of us sometimes tend to miss, because it's that we're in the doing of life and not in the being of life.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a whole nother conversation. And that you know, for us in this society, it's like I can't stop. I know so many people that, especially women entrepreneurs, that just work themselves
to death.
Oh my God. I mean, and especially now that I've taken so much time off, like I stopped so many things in the last 6 months. The universe sat my ass down and said, you need to sit, look it, like I'm like, all right, I understand. I'm gonna sit down. But what that did was I saw seeing all of this stuff, like with especially women entrepreneurs or women who just work. You don't maybe necessarily need to be an entrepreneur, but
just trying to prove whatever.
I mean, like, fuck that. How are you standing up? Like this one woman, I hung out with her, and she just we were talking about health and wellness, and I was telling her about something, and having to do with the gallbladder. When right before my mother passed away, she had gallbladder surgery. So I was telling her about some of the symptoms that my mom was having. And she was like, you know what, Vanessa, I kind of got the same thing going on, right? And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, I have kind of like the same feelings that you're talking about. She's like, maybe it is my gallbladder. And I was just like, you need to go to the doctor, dude. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you gotta go to the doctor and get your body checked. But I see so many people that wait, like, and don't take care of
minute.
Like, or they've been feeling away for so long and not doing anything about it. I know a lot of people that like have died because like because that shit. So like I think the rest and reflection part is like what wealthy people do.
Mm-hmm.
Wealthy people do that, right? Because they understand
it's vital.
You can't be at your top of your game if you're feeling like shit all the time. Like, it just doesn't work. So you got to take time out. And so I'm really happy to hear that you're seeing that, the importance, especially community work, the stuff that you're doing.
Yes, and that's how I started to see it, because now I'm interacting with so many different leaders, and I'm like, wow. And I'm happy you said women, because I'm like, wow, like, when do you rest? But then I found myself asking that so many times that I'm like, when have I been rested? I had to check myself. I'm like, okay, well, I've not been meditating. I've gotten back into journaling. I'm getting back into my schedule, but I'm like, man, I haven't really been doing it either. So now I'm looking at them and I'm like, with women, you can typically see it more. They're going to go. And they might tell you how tired and overwhelmed and how much capacity they don't have. But with men, as I talk to men leaders, the more I talk to them, I'm like, wow, y'all actually are doing the same thing. You just don't say it, which is even worse in my opinion. So now you just burnt out and people depending on you because you are stoic and you're not showing people that you're tired or need rest or help because you're a man, and whatever the case, whatever you were taught that meant in terms of your humanity. But I'm like, I don't want to be that leader. So then you get into the spaces with more leaders and they're saying how hard this work is and how burnt out you're going to get and all of these things. And I'm thinking to myself, I haven't experienced burnout like that. And I don't want to, because I pace myself and I only take on the things that make sense to the bigger picture. And I don't spread myself thin, but I was looking at my schedule and I'm like, but I almost was there, just because things pick up and you want to keep saying yes. And I'm like, no. Literally, after this call today is going to be a self-care day. I'm going to go get the things that I need, and I'm going to just chill and relax and prepare for the week. because I just don't want that. I'm like, the more I'm around it, the more I'm like, I hate that for y'all. And I hate that you see it that way, that you don't think that you can rest. But I'm also like, but this is an opportunity for me to just focus on me.
Yes.
And to do me.
Oh.
Be quiet. And to do me.
I mean, I think that is huge. That's a huge part of any, like how to create the life that you want, to really create a life of self-discovery, right? Have to take time. It's critical. I mean, it's just, if you're not in that life.
Yeah.
That's simple. If you're not taking the time to really connect with yourself inside, then you're not doing the real soul work that you're here to do. You gotta stop. It took me a long time to get that, but I got it.
Yes.
Like, and so that's all that matters at this point. I'm like, I got it, how important it is. And I say no regularly. I mean, just in all kinds of situations. I have so many boundaries. I love it. It's so freeing having boundaries, because I don't have to participate in areas that don't feel good, or I don't want to. I just don't
make sense.
Right. And so, like, I look at my people, like some of my friends, and they just are like so in these spaces that they don't want to be in.
I see that so much. And I'm just like, well, if you don't want to go, why do you go?
Right. And I've been, one of my friends, and this is so interesting because, like, she's amazing, right? She's an amazing businesswoman, but she finds herself sometimes in and around people that aren't reflecting who she is, right? So she had I think I think she was around a lot of people that weren't aligned with her for such a long time. And I think, and then this happens a lot because this happened to me. You start to think like those people. You start to making yourself aligned, or trying to align yourself with people you're not aligned with, right? But deep down, I mean, I knew it deep down. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, why am I forcing myself to be aligned to people that I shouldn't be aligned to? But there was a fear behind it, right? I was scared. I was scared. I didn't, like, that would mean I didn't know what was on the other side, like the uncertainty. I was like, I don't want to go down that.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do it because it's uncertain. I don't know what it's, like. But then the other side was so strong, the misalignment. It was like causing me to feel like shit, So I said, so what she was going through was very resonant to me because I had gone through the same thing. Trying to force myself into spaces that I thought were the ones for me, or this is what I should be doing. This is, but I had to, like, change my perspective about how I was looking at it. Instead of looking at it like in a way that it was, like this, like going on my own is, like, it's scary because I don't know what's going to happen down that road. But I do know, that's the other part. Like, if that's the alignment, then I know everything that is me, and everything that all of the underneath, all of the inner work that I've been doing is on this. It's over here in the other. I have to go there. Like, it's that everything is there because it ain't here, and I know it's not here. So that's it. I gotta jump in the fucking water.
You're going that way. Yeah.
You know, and so I see so many people like playing in this land where it's like you're forcing yourself, like all of that stuff, just because, you know, whatever
process, yeah,
whatever it is for you, you have a reason why you're doing it, or you know, an excuse why you're doing whatever it is, and you state that's. But I know that that's not my space anymore. Mm-hmm. So being over here in the uncertainty, girl, it has been the most amazing. It's been the most amazing time, because I truly see me.
Yeah.
In all of my light.
Yeah.
I see that I've been dimming it in spaces, or I wouldn't even say dimming it. My dimming is like, I'm not fully present. That's how I dim my light. I just don't allow it. I just let a little piece of it out so you can see it, a little bit of it, you know. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, ooh, you know, but I don't ever let it. I've not ever in my like historically let the whole light out, you just know. Let it out. Mm-hmm. I just let a little piece out, you know, because I like. I've been told, you know, like this is that conditioning, you know. Oh, you're too much, you know. Sometimes you need to, you know, you can't say all those things. You can't say those things. That's what my mom would tell me. She'd be like, you can't say that stuff. Why not? Because you don't like it? Because it upsets you? Yeah, that's why she didn't want me to say it. You know? Mm-hmm. So, you know, like now, I'm just like, fuck it. What do I have to lose?
That's that's where I think I am. I'm in way too many. When you say like dimming your light looks like just not giving it all or just checking out, I'm like, that's exactly. I know for sure what I've been doing in some spaces, and I'm just like, and I think the other conversation I've been having this week a lot with myself and with others, it's like, what's the difference between a grassroots leader and somebody who can take an idea and really scale it? And it really is mindset. Like, it's all of the things. It boils down to the way you see and how you operate. I think the other part of being around community leaders is that so many of them still have grassroots mindsets. And so it's just like, and then how do you tell a leader that their mindset is still grassroots? You know what I'm saying? You really can't. So then you just kind of have to watch it play out. And it's just like, man, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Right. I mean, that's a good girl, look. You know, it's so funny you say that about grassroots, and just like, I think that's a great place to start. I always think grassroots like organizations are a great place to start. I think, you know, like, I don't think that, and you know, community organizing is a very interesting, like, place. It's really interesting because I've been doing this work. I've been doing community organizing in Austin for, this is 2025. This is my 12th year doing the work in the community, right? And over the last decade, it has been, you know, you got to find your space. I think that's the thing that a lot of people get discouraged in this, like, is the discovery of what area you want to focus in on in the community, right? Because there's so many gaps and there's so many areas that you can that are in need, right? Like
immediate need too.
Like, and so there's a lot of opportunity, and I think that people see the opportunity in working in community, the folks that are really interested in doing the work of community organizing. I just think that, you know, the system and the way that the structure is still aligned with the status quo and how money flows. Like everything it has everything to do with how money flows. Because, you know, like you're you know, most organizers work for an organization, which is usually a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it becomes challenging, right? Like, you know, like it can be challenging doing community organizing. But if once you find your space, I mean, you got to find what works for you. I mean, that you could just work that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think but it has to be something that's not status quo. I really do. Like, that's how I feel about where we're going community right now. Like, it cannot be part of the system that's already in place. And there's nothing wrong with that system. Let me be clear. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but it just fills a need that does not impact the community.
It's antiquated.
It just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't work the way the structure is. It's designed for it to work the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it looks the same way that it's looked for 60 fucking years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I mean, it's like 1968 was 50 plus years ago. Like, come on, people. Like, what the fuck? Like, what, you know? Like,
the same thing.
A long time ago. That's like my parents. Both my parents are gone, and they were around and like in their 20s at the time. My dad was in his 30s around that time. So that was a long time ago. Like, and we're still dealing with the same shit.
Yeah.
So explain to me, like, how, like, it's not for us.
Yeah.
It's designed for us. It's designed for the people that it works for.
Yes.
And it's not us.
And it's not us.
It's not. So, like, that's the hard part for people to understand. They don't want that, because that means you have to fight. It's a different conversation. Girl, look, at the beginning, I was listening to Public Enemy the other day, and in the beginning of that song, it was at the beginning of the song, it's like, I don't know who's doing the sermon, but it's the best, like, analogy of like where we live in. And it's still, I mean, you could tell that shit is from like 1960.
How is it still so relevant?
It's so relevant. And the song Fight the Power is from 1989.
That's the year I was born.
That's like 30 plus years ago.
35 years ago.
And we're still dealing with the same shit. So to me, it's so hard to have conversation with people who are in the status quo, because they don't
want to see different.
They don't want to. So I said, you know what? This is what I do. I said, okay, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna build my shit in uncertainty. I'm gonna build it and let me tell you something. I open my fucking mouth every time,
and it happens.
People are like, what can I do to help? How can I be a part of the shit? You know why? Because people are sick of that shit. Because we look at it all day long and we're like, that shit don't work.
It's not. That's why I'm grateful.
It's not for us. So it's time for us to build our own thing.
We have to. That's the thing. Like, we don't even have a choice here. We literally have to do it.
No, we do have a choice. You can continue. Girl, look, that's gonna happen. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
It's still gonna be there, right? And I'm not saying not participating in that. I'm saying I could participate in that. It's like I'm multilingual. I could participate in
And
that
build something
and
different.
build something else
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yes.
So we can bridge that.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Being able to jump worlds, being a hybrid. I'm noticing that most people are not are not hybrids, one track minds. And it's just, I'm very grateful for like the network and that team that, you know, has been, because we all see that and understand it. And some of the conversations are just sad because it's like, man, it's not a great thing. But then when you start to think about some of the gatekeepers in our own community, which I hardly ever think about, I really didn't start thinking about the gatekeepers until I got around more community people who were burned by them. Because my mindset has always been, I'm going to go around. I'm always going to know a person that's going to allow me to go around. But now that I'm thinking about it, since it's been brought to my attention, a lot of the conversation goes like, well, they're older and they're getting ready to phase out anyway. And how sad is that, to have dedicated an entire career just for people to not be able to wait for you to leave so that the work can really get done. It's like, bruh.
That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
Why even think like that? That's insane.
Why think like that?
That's insane. Girl, look, I let people do whatever the fuck they do. I go ahead, do your thing. I want you to prosper in whatever it is that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been burned a lot, but I don't care. See, that's the thing, because look, I know I'm a vessel and I'm connected to God.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can create that thing, I can create more things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to take it, like, I've given away programs, initiatives, like a whole organizations that I started, I've given that shit away. Like, you could take it. I'm not gonna fight you. You know what I mean? Because I got plenty more where that comes
where
from.
that came, it's endless. The creativity and the ideas are endless.
I got plenty more. And look, I've created so many other things since then. Mm-hmm. I think people limit themselves. They limit themselves. They don't see what the possibility is because they're in the status quo. Mm-hmm. I don't work with people like that. Mm-hmm. I respect those people. Mm-hmm. I love those people. But I don't do that work. That's not the work I'm here to do. So go do your work, bro.
Go do your work.
You know what I mean? And when I see you, I'm going to say, what's up? And I'm going to be bright and shiny. And you're going to be like, wow, you look great. Every time I go to somewhere where I don't associate myself with none of them motherfuckers. I don't go to none of their meetings. I'm not part of their organizations. I don't work for them, nothing. But I go to their events. Yeah. Mm-hmm. To some of them. Sure. If it's public, I'll go.
It makes sense. Yeah.
And so, like, I go, people look at me, they're like, damn, and I said, what are you, you know what I mean? Because I'm in my light. Mm-hmm. I'm doing the work that I'm here. Like, I'm excited and happy and living in that. Right? So does that mean that I'm, like, mean and upset or, like, wanting to, do all of this like weird shit, gossip, all the rest of that shit because of what happened with those other people? No, I don't do that. I'm just like, okay, go do your work. I'm going to go do mine. Mm-hmm. And you come in my business and you're going to spend money in my business when I open it. Watch. Mm-hmm. Watch. $10.
And I want to. And I'm going to accept all monies. All of it. All money.
All the people gonna be in my businesses spending their money.
I guess my only appeal for community people is that understand that community work it requires you to do personal work. You can't just pour so much out into the community and you're not really pouring into yourself, because that lack of faith in self is what will allow you to have those limited beliefs. And then you shutting yourself down, or not to stretch yourself, or to believe. I think the frustration when the term gatekeeper come up is you believe that's the only way through. And so now the gate is closed and you feel like there's no way through now. So now you're just miserable about it. There's always a way through. There's always a way through. Yeah. No one person is going to stop what's for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the gatekeeping mindset of like community development, community organizing is, I just, and here's this is a really great part, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've heard about jumping timelines, but so like basically we live in a kind of like a metaverse, right? Mm-hmm. And right now, at this moment, there's a whole lot of other different planes of existence that you could tap into at any point in time, mm-hmm. right? So shifting your mindset, you don't even come in contact with people that you don't like. It doesn't. It's like people look at you differently. It's like you're in a whole nother plane of existence when you shifted yourself to the point where you're not yourself. You're like a different person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? People approach you differently. Mm-hmm. So you don't get that conversation anymore.
It's a different. Mm-hmm.
It's so different. It's like you're a totally different person. And I think that that's where people get limited, is that they think that this existence that we live on is it. And it's not. There's more to this. And you could do it. Go and look at quantum physics. It's a known fact that there are other planes of existence that are here at this present time. So when they say that it's already done, because it is. If you're thinking it, if it's already here, and it's about, you have to tap into that. That's the work. That's the work. And most people don't. They're not in that. They're not in that mindset. Hard. It's hard for them to see that you can just shift your perspective.
That's literally it.
You just have to shift your perspective, right? And once you shift it, it's like a whole new fucking world. Oh, I got an example.
I got one too.
Okay, let me hear yours. I want to hear yours.
I was on the phone. I was having a conversation with a friend, and I'm just like, the friend was telling me about all of how overwhelmed and all of these things that they had going on. They had some serious stuff going on. So I'm like, in the midst of all of this, when do you rest? Like, how are you taking care of yourself through this? Like, that's just as important. I know you have all of these things going on, but you also be having health issues related to like the work, your life load, and so you got to also incorporate that too. So you got to rest, because you're going to end up in the hospital again. You know what I'm saying? It was that kind of thing. And this person just was really adamant about just not having time and being able to rest when they finish, or all of these things. So much like they were and then wanting to go back to all of the issues. Like, it was really interesting. So much so that this person was like, I know you do well. I know you do well with SEL, but you're not very empathetic. I said, I'm not empathetic because I'm asking you, when do you plan to rest? But it's like, you don't want to be in this. I know you don't want this, but it's all you keep allowing yourself to see. And it's going to take for your body to shut down like it has before, for you to realize that none of those things are as important as your rest. Because when your body shuts down, everything that you thought was important all of a sudden stops. You can't do it. It just stops. So it's wiser to just plan it into your actual routine, into your day. Like, take a time. You don't have to say yes to everything. You just joined this new thing. So now you feel like you got to show up for all these different people in the midst of everything that you already have going on. Rest.
Right.
But so much so that you would think that I'm not being empathetic to the fact that because I'm telling you, you need to rest for your health.
Right.
You need to rest to live,
Right.
to do the work that you think that you don't, that there's not enough time in the day to do. Like, that is me being very empathetic. I'm just not being empathetic in a way that I guess you wanted to hear it. You wanted me to go in there with you and say, yeah, girl, keep going. Pedal to the metal. Like, don't stop. Keep your foot on their neck. Gas. No, I'm not going to do that. You're going to kill yourself.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a great analogy of how just by shifting your perspective about rest, how that can make it such an impact on your state of being, to the point where you're actually giving from your overflow.
Mm-hmm.
And I do find it interesting that this person like was so in the perspective of lack and scarcity that even when you were being a like real source of like friendship and love, and really like being there for her and really getting where she's coming from,
Mm-hmm.
she thought that you were not being that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting.
That blew my mind. I was like, wait, what?
That's what I'm saying. It's like people get so set inside of a perspective that, or a way of living, that they don't see the possibility of that can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And let me tell you,
Mm-hmm.
that person is saying that to themselves. So when you're saying that to them, in her mind, she was like, I can't rest. What are you talking about?
Yes, that sounds crazy. I'm the only person who can do this. I got my kid. I got these
So
things.
she got that conversation going on and on and on in her head. She can't see the rest of the shit. You know, they say you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You can't see it because it's so blinding. It's like one fucking color and you can't see the detail. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, girl, I've been, you know, for months, didn't have no work. You know, didn't have no fucking work.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting here using my credit cards to live off of, in that mindset of like, fuck, what am I gonna do? And all of this stuff happened around my living situation.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was walking in the park and I just said to myself, like, what if this is if everything that happens is for me, and I'm always, you know, everything always works out for me and everything that happens is for me, then what's going on right now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I asked myself that question because I was going down that rabbit hole of fuck, what am I, you know, like freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I was like, well, Vanessa, you've been saying that you want to move. You've been saying that shit. Last year I created a game last year to start looking at purchasing my own home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I put it out there in the universe. I put it out there, and as of today, I'll be moving by the end of September.
Mm-hmm.
And so that shift, I shifted my mindset and I said, well, shit, you manifested what you said you were.
You said you wanted it.
And look, it might not be the way I said I wanted it,
but it's here.
But it's here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm moving. This is what I'm saying. People, you're always manifesting. I don't give a fuck. People don't understand it. They're like, oh, I'm not manifesting. Yes, you are.
Believe in that. Oh, yeah.
You're always manifesting. Always. Maybe you're manifesting things you don't want more than what you want. Maybe you should focus more on what you want instead of things you don't want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Perspective. I'm
It's,
telling you.
it's all perspective, and it really
Oh,
will change your life to choose to change if you just decided to choose to look at something another way, even if you didn't choose the other way, but to entertain it just a little bit. What does it hurt you to think about something differently just because? And one thing that I've learned too is that to get different, you have to also be different. You got to be willing to be different, and so a lot of the times when things come up and you feel compelled to do the thing that feels the most comfortable and the most natural, you really do got to know that just because it feels the most comfortable and the most natural doesn't mean that that is right. When you start thinking about how your body and your brain works, it's designed again to keep you safe. So it could just be a safe option, but it doesn't make it the right option. That's where getting out of your comfort zone comes into the conversation. Making the decision that might stretch you, that might not be the decision that you would always make. I ran into an old friend of mine, and she's married now, but had like a lot of years of just bad luck in love, I guess. And I just asked her, I said, well, what did you do? What do you think was the difference this time? And she said it was really simple. I just did everything opposite of what I would normally do.
hold on one second.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Did you hear me?
No, you were breaking up. I think it was my internet.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
No, I was saying I had a friend who I ran into, and after years, and she's married now, but she's had a lot of years of just not good luck in love. So but she's like head over heels happy now. Love her husband. He seems like an amazing dude. Love like the kid. Like it's a really good thing for her. And I'm like, well, what do you think was different? And she said, I just did everything different from what I would do normally. I chose differently. I decided to say yes to things that I would typically say no to. Like she stretched herself. She took herself outside of her comfort zone because she realized that her decisions were getting her the same thing, And so this is where having perspective and being willing to step in and see that for yourself. Like you really do yourself a disservice when you decide to see things one way forever. Like when nothing's one way in the world, So it's like we got to be willing we got to stretch ourselves to stretch our perspective so that we can stretch our capacity too. That I think the other thing I just keep noticing is that everybody is burnt out and have no capacity. We talked about this at the very beginning of the year, and it seems to just keep increasing. And it's like, do you not have capacity, or just have you not built it for this yet? And is this an opportunity for you to figure out how to build it in this space? It's like, I love us for real, but it encourages me to just keep doing my work. Because what I'm also noticing, to your point, is when I go back into spaces that I haven't been in, then people are like, oh my God, you look amazing. What do you have going on? And then that invites me to speak about the things that I do. And I really just go back to mindset and all of those things. But since you asked, now I'm going to tell you what I do. And so I'm learning to just be better at that. Go into spaces and just wait for people to ask. People to ask. But we got to stretch our perspectives. We have to.
I think you're a model. I think we're both models of what it looks like when you're whole and complete. When you know that you're whole and complete.
When you know.
And you might think of me, and this is the thing, and like I think that this was the hardest thing for me to like come to terms with, because it was something that I've been told my whole life that I do, and so I had to come to terms with just being myself and being transparent, to the point where I might think, or a thought that might cross my head might be something like, they can't handle what I have to say. Because like I was told that I was really like
a lot.
Yeah, And so I have to push past that, just like you said with your friend, right? Like her having to choose another way. or choose the way that, you know, authentically you are. And so in my case, that was that thing. And, you know, it doesn't resonate with a lot of folks, you know, or I might say something that might be like kind of looked upon as being a little mean, you know, but it's out of love. And I always preface that. I always say that this is out of love, you know, and I will say what I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And that way of expression is, I think, it's an important part of how we make the changes like your friend made,
Mm-hmm.
like how we stay in the growth space, how we expand ourselves and be able to be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. And thus modeling that kind of way, that's when people ask questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to know how,
mm-hmm.
what do you do? How do you do the things that you do? How were you able to create the things that you create?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it's like, everybody has access to this. I'm not special, you know what I mean? But I have done a lot of inner work that is critical. Like, you can't do it. You can't be that thing and not do this.
You can't skip it. You cannot skip the work.
And skip it, right? And so I think that's what we're here to do. Like, really, is to model in community, especially, right?
Especially.
You got a lot of people who are burnt out. Yeah, you're burnt out. You know why you burn out? Because you're going against who you truly are, what you truly. But you gotta get in touch with that.
You gotta know what it is. Yep.
You gotta get in there and do all of that stuff, right? But people don't want to get in there and do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff are gonna bring up some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might be gay. I think that, you know, girl, look, I'm gonna say that because it's an easy analogy.
It is.
It's easy for people to understand when you've been living a life that you don't really want to lead, and how that eats you up inside, you know. And I think it's becoming normalized, where people are getting in touch with themselves to really be themselves. And I love it. I love to see it. You know, I love to see people come out, because that's just more of the system breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, back in the day, people lived like that. You know what I mean? So it's still here. Like, you know, like that kind of way. I can't say anything about, you know, it's like, okay, well, maybe that's where you are in your journey, right? And there's nothing wrong with that either, right? Like, go do you, and whatever that is for you, you know. We can't make it wrong, because not everybody is in the same consciousness, right? Like, they're at different spaces in their life, different consciousness. But us being the light that we are is part of like how we shift the planet. So we you know, we get it. So we got to show it that we get it, you know,
through our actions.
Just us presence. We ain't got to do shit. Like, look, we sitting up here talking on streaming on YouTube. This is about stuff that we think about all the time. I'm not doing anything special. This is shit that I be thinking about right now.
Conversation regardless.
Right.
Just because. Yeah, that's true.
We're just being ourselves, you know.
That's true. No, man. Listen, we didn't even get to what we was supposed to talk about, but I think this is a much better conversation, because it's just what I'm seeing a lot of. And, you know, it's interesting because being in this community space, for me, I never really saw myself as like a community leader. I just worked with kids and in schools and in education. So just being a teacher. So now making this full on transition, and I don't even know when or how this happened. It's so crazy to me. It seems like the next natural thing because it's all connected. But just being in this space and hearing the different conversations, I'm like, man, we got a lot of mind work to do. We got to really do that. And not just for our kids. Because again, in community work, people tend to only, and I think what it is they want to give the things that they didn't feel like they had. So I get it. So you're giving all of these things. Our kids need emotional well, and you do too. Like you do too. So when you are putting on these workshops and you are making sure they run off without a hitch, be present in them too with the kids, like grow with them, then learn, take these opportunities. And I guess I see it so clearly because I used to do the same thing. Because I work with kids, I would make sure that they had every resource they needed, and I wouldn't take advantage of them either. And so I understand how it happens and why it happens and all of the things, because you just want to pour and you want to give. But it's like, no, that's backwards. It's literally backwards. Nobody who does community work should be poor or should be broke, because you're literally doing the work. Nobody should be broke. You shouldn't be broke doing this work.
No. And here's the thing, like, and that's such a good point about like how people in turn become the community and not the model.
Yes.
You know, it's
like, yeah, that's it. It took 56 minutes and 30 seconds. That's it.
They become
the community and not the model.
They don't understand what leadership is because they're focused too much on the youth or the community instead of themselves.
Yes.
Because you want to attract people to you, right? That want that are ready to do. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of people out here who are ready. Mm-hmm. But the leadership is not ready. The leadership is what's lacking.
Yes.
Because people aren't, it's like, you know how they say, like, people want to fix it. Like they want to come, like you want to fix the problem instead of looking at who you're being. So it's like you're out here instead of in here. This is where all of the work is. Yes. It's not here. Right. It's here. Right. And so this is where we get, this is how come things don't happen or happen slowly, is because we're not really dealing with the real issue is us personally, and who we're being has nothing to do with what's happening out here. Has everything to do with what's going on in here. And that's why it doesn't work. That's why it's not, because we're too focused on
outside
instead of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so all of this time I've been doing this work on me.
Yeah.
Like literally, I've been doing work in community, doing all this stuff, like relationships, all that shit. But as I'm doing that, I'm taking real rigorous leadership. I mean, rigorous.
Because you're growing.
Like,
you have to.
Fucking hard work. You know what I mean? Where I'm like in my bed, not trying to get out of my bed. I'm that depressed, girl. Because I'm flowing through all of these feelings and things that I didn't even know were there, that I've been stored up and put away.
In the name of doing the work.
And this shit coming up.
Yeah.
And look, I did this course. It was a year-long course. It was called the Team Management Leadership Program. I did this course for the first year. And so it's a year-long course, and you take 3 months off, a quarter. And they call it the miracle quarter, right? Because everything happens in that quarter, right? Girl, okay. So like during that 3-month time frame, I received all of the money for all of my projects that I'm now doing right now. All of it. Do you hear me? Millions of dollars. Everything that I was working. And they were giving me shit. I got a grant from the city. They gave me $400K. They're like, here, we want you to do it. I never do anything. I couldn't believe it. It shut me the fuck down, girl. I was like, what the fuck?
What is happening?
I was running Westside Health Authority's Economic Development Department. I was managing 2 SSAs, 2 corridor ambassador programs. I got Pop Grove. I got the money for the cafe. I got the money for Third City, both of the spaces. We got all of that. All of that during that time.
Sheesh.
And that was for me working on me.
Working on you.
Not working on
outside. Because what you do, the work you do inside is always going to reflect out. Like that's just the way it works. So when you are forcing on the outside things that you don't have inside and you feel like you're burnt out or hit a wall or stuck, well, that makes sense. You're giving something that you don't even have. And you got to show up for it. And you got to be fully present for it.
Because you don't even know who you are.
Because you don't know who you are.
You don't know what you're able to do because you're limited in how you're seeing the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a limitation. It's nothing's wrong with it. It's just people are limited, and this is why I tell people all the time. I'm just like, ain't nothing wrong with being limited. You can live a good life and be limited because most humans are living decent life, right? They go to work, they come home, they make enough money that they can live.
They're happy with it.
It's okay. Like I people just they're resigned. They're like that. And I'm okay with that, right?
Yeah, they're happy with it.
And look, I'm not making anybody wrong in how they live. like that's your life. That's what you choose to do. But if you're looking to be happy, if you're not happy and you're looking to be a leader and an effective one, okay? If you're looking to be an effective leader in community, if you're not working on yourself, then you're not effective.
You are
creating a space for us to grow in as community. It's just the same, more of the same. That's what I've been seeing from most of these people out here. They're just doing more of the same shit. And look, I like I said, I go and I say hello. You know what I mean? And I if they invite me to certain things, I'll go. You know what I mean? Only invited. I only go when people invite me. Right? I don't go to just random shit. You have to send me a flyer. Personally invite me. I'll go. But if there's no invitation, I'm not showing up. I'm just not like, But that's what I'm saying. It's like, girl, leadership is it is. You're modeling. It's a model. You're modeling behavior where you're setting a precedent of people, like how you can or what you can be to everybody else in the space that they're in and whatever consciousness that they have. Because like if you look at all of our leaders, they never said be like me. They said be yourself. Be who you want to be. You know what I mean? But have the freedom and capacity and love to do all the things. I mean, there's nothing wrong with any kind of work. Like, when people start saying, oh, this job is, meaningless position or, all this and that. I'm just like, it's
then
like
then it will be.
it's an ecosystem. We live in communities are like ecosystems. You have to have every part of it, right? So it's not like the guy that sweeps the streets is lesser than the garbage guy that throws out the garbage, the garbage man, or the guy that owns the business, or the dentist or the doctor. Like, you got to have all the parts, a community, for it to run right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as a leader, we're supposed to help to empower people to empower themselves through what they do. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But that means you got to empower you.
You have to empower you, because you cannot empower.
Right. These people ain't that shit, girl. That's why I just be like, let me go over here. I'm just like, I'm gonna go over here and build with my people. And don't worry, I don't have to do nothing, because I just be myself and my people show up. And I'm good. Like, but you right, girl. Like, this shit out here, boy. Woo. And you know, when they say we got a lot of work to do, you know, and I don't think so. I mean, when people say that we got a lot of work to do, I start thinking about it. And I'm just like, you know what? Is it really a lot of work?
Is it really a lot?
Because, like, if you're doing the thing that is easy for you, that you love to do, maybe not all the time, because, like, there's sometimes I don't like doing what I'm doing, but I just do it anyway, right? Like what you said earlier about being uncomfortable. Like, you have to be comfortable doing that, being uncomfortable, right? But if we're really in that space, in the spaces that we in the work that we do, or the things that we love, or whatever resonates with us, don't you think that if everybody's in ease, then it won't be that hard?
Yes. Yes, because even the hard stuff don't be that. It's not a big deal. It comes up, and you are like, okay, well, this comes with the work. It's gonna be some resistance that ebbs and flows. That's life. That's how it works. So let's get to the solution. Like, let's work through it. It's like a puzzle.
Girl.
It's like a puzzle. But if we're devastated by everything every time,
girl, it's just like your nervous system is just constantly on
like that. And I know so many leaders like that. When I come around them, I can feel the energy. And I'm just like, wait a second.
Girl.
Wait, you about to make me anxious. And I don't even know what you're worried about. And it's contagious. It's like, no, I can't. And if you happen to lead young people, you just pay. What are you doing?
Right.
We got to work on ourselves. We got to do our work. I think that was the through line of today's message. Like, you cannot skip your work in this community work.
And bringing it back and tying in actually what we were talking about initially, which is integrity versus
Strategy. Yeah.
So integrity is really doing the work on self. Mm-hmm. Right? It's about doing this work,
mm-hmm.
and the inner work, right? And then strategy is the work that you do out here in the world.
That's good. That's very good. I'm about to write that down.
You know what I mean? So to have, I mean, you could actually have both, right? Because to really be effective in your strategy, the integrity part is critical. You gotta have that integrity. Or I'm sorry, it wasn't integrity. It was
intentionality.
Intentionality, right? You gotta have that inside of you.
That's right? Good.
You gotta have that intentionality inside of you to have that effective strategy, right, on the outside. So that's what I heard. So we tried it back.
You did, because I'm writing this right now. I got a couple of takeaways that you said today.
See, this is what happened. See, this is why I've been wanting to do this, right? For such a long time. This is my space.
Yeah.
This is because I've been doing this shit for a long fucking time. I've been watching these people be robots and bang themselves against the wall constantly. Just hitting their head on the wall. It's being like, oh, why isn't this working?
Oh my God. That's literally the next question. It's like, what?
That's it. I mean, because people are just, and they banging their head and beating themselves up. And look, I was one of them people. I was doing that. I was like, oh, just hitting the wall. Like, and then finally I just said, I had a coach and he said, stop. Just stop.
Just stop.
Girl, he yelled at me. He says, just stop. Don't say anything. Don't move. Don't do anything. Just stop. And I said, broke down, crying. I just bawled and just crying. Literally was beating myself up, trying to make myself fit in space. That wasn't it. It wasn't for me. I was trying to force myself to fit in a space that wasn't for me. And that's when it hit me. Said stop, everything changed. Everything shifted for me.
And to think that
that's when I realized, stop. That's it.
That's all you had to do. Just stop. And I think that's the thing, is we think in our minds that we can't stop. If we stop, we think that everything around us will stop. That's the problem. Because if everything around you can only go when you go, how limiting is that?
Boom.
You're only one person.
That's why, I mean, that's really it. You know, that's why we live in the world that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just see, like, it's like, there's this movie, at the end of the movie, it was Queen of the Damned. At the end of the Queen of the Damned, they showed the couple vampires. They show them like walking across London Bridge, and they're slow, like everything is moving so fast around them, and they're just moving because, you know, when you're a vampire, you don't die, right? So they're like they're in a completely different plane of existence, where everyone else around them is moving at the speed that they're like, that people don't even see them, right? Because because they're so, it's like that is how most human beings are in life. You know, they're just moving at the speed of light. They don't take the time to stop and be present and be in the moment. And they miss everything. You miss your life. You're missing everything. Because you're hitting the wall. Boom, 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 you know.
And it's like I understand that pace, because I used to do it too. The pace allows you to block out the bad things so that you can keep going. But what I think people miss is that you also are missing the beautiful things too, because you don't really get to choose which one you block out when you decide to move that way. You just miss it all. Yeah. So then you got to decide, like, what do you want? What type of life do you want? I literally had to write it in my journal. I'm like, I want to feel the highs. I want to feel them. And I understand that that means that once I say I want to feel one thing, I got to be open to it all. So I'm not afraid of the lows, is what I say. I'm brave enough to face those. And so I don't have to fear it, but I do want to feel, I want to feel it all.
Right. Here's the other thing. Circumstances don't matter. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
They don't matter, you know? And we get caught up in the circumstance. We get caught up in all of the fucking minutia shit. We get caught up in that. What matters is how you're being.
Yeah.
But that's what matters.
Yeah.
And if you're being present and you're being part of all of the things, like all of the, like you said, like all of the energies, all of the frequencies, right? You're not just focused on, I just want to feel good all the time. You're like, I want to be with life, which means
yes,
circumstances are going to show up.
Yep.
It's just part of it. People die.
Yep.
You know, folks get in car accidents. You know, aliens are here. You know what I mean? Like that's life. That's just the shit that happens in life, man. You change jobs, you move cities, you know, family moves away, you get new friends, old friends, whatever. You deal with life shit. That's just life. But we get so caught up in this shit, we miss all of this beauty. Yeah. You're right. It's like all this beautiful shit happening all around me, man. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, I get to witness.
I want to feel it. Yeah.
Witness all of this beautiful shit all the time. It's amazing. I love my life. I love every part, even the shit. I love that too.
Because it all works for us. Girl, look,
I saw my landlord the other day and I thought about it. I was like, how am I going to approach the situation when I see her, you know? And, you know, I stood outside and she was pulling out in her car and she turned and looked at me and I just looked at her. I didn't say hi. I didn't wave. I just looked as she pulled off. And she turned and she kind of waved. It was like a half-ass wave. Like she turned and then like she waved and she realized once I saw her and she was like, why the fuck am I waving at you? You know what I mean? Because it was so quick when she shifted. And it's like, look, you don't have to do pleasantries. We don't have to. It's okay. I don't have a problem with that. And I'm not going to be pleasant. Because you tried to like kick me out with 30 days. And if I knew, I would be freaking out right now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So no, I'm not going to be pleasant. I'm not gonna be rude though. Rude would be like, fuck you, bitch. I wasn't going to do that. You know what I mean? But I was not going to raise my hand and say hello.
The wave.
Why? I would be lying if I did that. And I don't do that. Girl, it was so funny. And I just watched her, like, it was so automatic. She's like, you know, like, it was so automatic. But then when she realized, she's like, and she just turned and just kept on driving. I was like, okay. But that's what I mean. It's like, when you are confident and you're it, you know, like,
you can stand on it, whatever that is, whatever it is, you can stand on it.
No, look, I'll have a conversation. I'll talk to anybody. I'll have a conversation with anybody. People hate that shit. They do.
That's me. Because please,
I got time. I sat in this park after y'all left when you were in the park a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I met this lady on the block and I was telling her, I was just sharing with her my situation, my apartment and stuff. And because she was asking me about, you know, she used to live on the block. So she was asking me about it. And I was just sharing with her my experience. You know, that woman prayed for me. She stopped everything. She held my hands and prayed for me. Girl, I was in tears.
I know that's right.
I was like, what the hell? I don't know this lady. Fucking she just one little conversation with her. She prayed for me. I was like, I'm so blessed right now. I'm like that. I was so present to it. It was like beautiful. You know what I mean? People don't see that shit. You know, they're folks are so like robots, chattel. They're like fucking chattel, girl.
Robots.
Man. Well,
robots. But I will say we had an hour and 20. So the other thing that I do appreciate is I don't appreciate people being robots, but what I do appreciate is what that does mean for those of us who are not robots. It means that there is an open lane to do the work a different way. And so, you know, I'm always take the opportunity to do it a different way.
Girl, look, I was so in the mix. I totally forgot about. I got to take my daughter to her
work. Okay, yes, we had an hour 21 anyway. Let's go ahead and land this plane. This was a great conversation. And I think this is just one of those conversations we continue to have. It'll weave itself in and out of the conversation. But if you're a community leader, you got to do your work.
Yeah, you definitely do your work. Yep.
You got to do your work. Got to do your work. Got to do your work. But okay, so I'm going to land this plane. You can go ahead and head out.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I apologize for my short exit, but
well, I mean, you gave him an hour. You gave him a full hour and 20 minutes. So,
but I just don't like exiting without exiting in a way where there's more like slow down. But it's cool. Like I'm not, it is what it is. But yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Monica.
This was good.
Yes. And I'll see you all next time.
Yes, we will see you next time. Y'all be safe. Be safe on your way taking her to work.
We will. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye. And we are out of here. I'm going to end this. Boom, boom, boom.